when I win. The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, people will wait in line to see.
Intro: Rachel Zegler collapses after Disney removes Snow White from shelves. Rachel Zegler has officially reached her lowest point. In a decision that shocked even industry veterans, Disney is silently withdrawing Snow White from stores and cinemas nationwide like it never existed. Billions lost, theaters deserted, and now Disney is reportedly abandoning future woke remakes entirely. But the real collapse, it's Rachel. After months of criticism and dismal box office figures, she's crumbling under the strain, breaking down on live streams, venting in interviews, and confronting the possibility that her career may never rebound. What went so wrong? And why is Disney pretending Snow White never happened? Let's dive right into the video. Now, theater owners who were contractually obligated to show Snow White on a set.
Okie dokie. I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off the book we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people.
Number of screens started rebelling. Theater owners revolt. They reported astonishingly low turnout. 4 weekend screenings and begged Disney to allow them to cancel early. In many instances, they didn't wait. They replaced it with virtually anything else they could show. And then one moment broke the internet. A fan posted a brief clip from inside a Snow White screening. The camera sweeps across the theater and it's empty. Not just a sparse crowd. Empty. You could count the attendees on one hand. The atmosphere feels more like a canceled.
Gal delivered the following. The most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork. And when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process. And I just found that to be very exhausting.
School event, then a Disney blockbuster. Disney banned Snow White, but that wasn't even the worst of it. Overseas, things got tougher. Lebanon went beyond canceling showtimes. They banned the film entirely. Not just from cinemas, but from all distribution within the country officially. It's not even being imported. And then came the embarrassment no Disney exec wants to hear. Lilo and Stitch, yes, the quirky, tropical, animated classic was quietly tracking to outgrass Snow White's entire US box office run in just its opening weekend. This wasn't an Avengers movie. It wasn't a Pixar juggernaut. It was Lilo with a space dog. And it still crushed.
Further, I think those that follow me will be satisfied when I am more comfortable to share more details on the specifics, but for now, it's something I feel is not the right time to jump into.
Snow White like it was nothing. Even the merchandise is failing. Snow White dolls, t-shirts, mugs, all of it was shipped in limited batches to create demand. But months later, shelves remain stocked. Disney can't even give the stuff away. Rachel Zegler's breakdown, and that brings us to the person at the center of all this. Rachel Zegler, the internet scapegoat. And now the reported reason why co-stars are clashing. Projects are being shelved and Disney's entire live-action strategy is at risk. Because what's coming next isn't just a box office flop. It's public betrayal, career sabotage, and a breakdown captured on camera. As Snow White unraveled publicly, the behind-the-scenes fractures began surfacing, and what emerged made things worse for Rachel Zegler. First came Gal Gadot. In an interview, Gal didn't directly criticize Rachel, but she certainly didn't defend her either. When asked about the backlash, Gal pointed to a gap between what the film promised and what fans anticipated. She called it a
One of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood.
misalignment at the corporate level. Translation: "This wasn't my fault." And then came the pivotal moment. When asked if she'd elaborate on her experience with Rachel, Gal said, "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." One sentence. 10,000 rumors. Fans instantly interpreted it as confirmation that things on set were chaotic and that Gal had restrained herself out of professionalism. But now, even she's suggesting the truth is far messier than it seems. Meanwhile, Rachel's other co-star, Andrew Burnup, didn't even attend the premiere. Not for press, not for promotion, nothing. And here's where it gets intense. According to reports, Rachel herself had already hinted his scenes might be cut. She literally said all of Andrew's scenes could get cut in a press event, and they largely were. Tangled canceled. Imagine dedicating months to a Disney film, only for your lead co-star to openly tell the press you might.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Not make the final cut. No wonder Andrew skipped the red carpet. The atmosphere behind the scenes wasn't just tense, it was toxic. Then Disney made the boldest move yet. Tangled, their next major live-action adaptation, was officially canceled, quietly, without warning. No trailer, no teaser, no announcement, just gone. And while Disney hasn't cited Snow White as the reason, it's not hard to connect the dots. Tangled was meant to be the next billion-dollar franchise reboot, and early reports suggested Rachel Zegler was the top name being considered to play Rapunzel. But after everything that happened with Snow White, Disney clearly didn't want to take that gamble again. It wasn't just about recasting, it was about strategy. Tangled would have required another massive budget, another round of fan expectations, and a full campaign built around a face the internet was already tired of defending. For Disney, the damage wasn't worth it. And that kind of decision doesn't happen unless you believe your lead is part of the problem. Snow White canceled. What we're seeing now isn't just a failed movie, it's a complete industry rejection. Actors stepping back, studios scrapping future projects, directors deflecting blame, and Rachel still at the center of it all. But that's nothing compared to what happened next. Because after defending the movie for months, doing press tours, and promising fans that theaters would be packed, Rachel Zegler ended up sitting in one. The emptiest theaters of her career. It was captured on camera. Before Snow White hit theaters, Rachel Zegler was confident, too confident. She told fans that people would flock to see the movie, that it would be revolutionary, that audiences would embrace the new vision. She doubled down on her stance that the original Snow White was outdated and that her version would fix it. But the reality couldn't have been more different. When criticism began mounting online, Rachel posted an emotional clip to Instagram where she seemed to be holding back tears. It was raw. Fans were turning against her. The internet was mocking her press interviews. And suddenly, that bold pre-release energy turned into damage control. Then came the theater moment. Rachel showed up to a screening of her own movie, Flowers, in hand, smiling, posting like it was a celebration. But the camera didn't lie. The theater was nearly deserted. A handful of people scattered in seats. No buzz, no energy. Just her and a couple of silent rows. The aftermath, it was supposed to be a triumph. It became a meme. Fans began reposting it with captions like Snow White and the 7 empty seats. Others quipped she brought flowers to a funeral. Some said it looked like she was holding a press tour for a ghost town, and then came the figures. Snow White couldn't even reach $100 million at the US box office, even with Disney's full marketing machine behind it, even with a global release. The movie was losing money fast. Even worse, its IMDb score became one of the lowest for any modern Disney release. Critics and fans both piled on. The narrative had flipped completely. Rachel wasn't being celebrated for challenging tradition. She was being blamed for ruining it. But the final blow came from one of the most unexpected places: Minecraft. Yes, Minecraft. The live-action Minecraft movie dropped weeks after Snow White and immediately outperformed it at the box office. What people called too childish or silly turned out to be exactly what audiences wanted: fun, low drama, and actually made for the fans. While Rachel's Snow White was struggling to reach triple digits, Minecraft soared past it in its opening weekend. No political lectures, no controversy, just blocks, zombies, and Jack Black yelling into a mic. Suddenly, Disney's most expensive Princess reboot looked like a parody of itself. And according to industry insiders, Hollywood noticed. Reports began emerging that studios were now reevaluating Rachel's future projects, that she might be overlooked for upcoming roles, that Disney wasn't willing to back her for future reboots after what happened with Snow White. The same Rachel, Zegler, who was once hailed as a rising star, is now facing the biggest question of her career. Can she recover? Or did this movie close the chapter before it truly began? And while Rachel was scrambling to recover, one thing was already on the way: another animated roast. This time from the one studio that hasn't struck yet, but absolutely will. Because if you thought South Park's roast was savage just, wait until The Simpsons and Family Guy gets involved. Don't miss the next one. Saya, next time.